This is Civil Discourse Now, with your host, Mark Small.
Hi, I'm Mark Small. This is Civil Discourse Now. This podcast has been on hiatus for a couple of years. And we're back to look at issues that are facing this country today. One of the biggest issues has to do with the occupant of the Oval Office, the individual who assumed the office of President of the United States after the 2016 elections. A lot of people look at the problems today and question whether the individual should be removed from office of President of the United States. Now, the Constitution provides two means by which an individual can be removed from the office of President. One is by impeachment. That requires a vote of the House of Representatives and then a 2/3 vote of the Senate to convict the individual for committing high crimes or misdemeanors while in office. A second means is under the 25th Amendment. And there are a couple of different procedural ways that can be done under the 25th Amendment. But the main one is the Vice President and a majority of the Cabinet decide that the President is no longer fit for office and they remove him. Then there's kind of an appeal procedure that the President can take to say, well, no, I'm not crazy, to get the office back. But people also wonder, what about when an election is stolen, when fraud is perpetrated, or when, as seems to be increasingly clear every day, not only did Russia, a hostile foreign power, attempt to affect the outcome of the elections in 2016, especially for the office of President of the United States, but might actually have been able to swing that so the individual who had 3 million votes fewer than his opponent took the office. Well, actually, a federal case in 1976 stated that the framers of the Constitution never would have countenanced an election being allowed like that, where fraud occurred to put a person in office. Another federal case, about 10 or 15 years later, in the First Circuit Court of Appeals, reached the same conclusion. In 76, the court said, you're dealing with the office of president. And if you're going to make that claim, then you have to be able to prove it with the most clear and convincing evidence of the most egregious criminal behavior. What we're going to do here on the next few episodes of this show, Civil Discourse Now, is look at what evidence there is, whether it supports the conclusion that Russia did interfere effectively and successfully in our presidential election, and if so, what should be done? If it didn't, then what else should we be looking at? This is still a free country, and we should be able to look at this evidence and discuss it and not worry about consequences like they would maybe in other countries like, say, Russia. Full disclosure, I represented individuals on a case that was before the United States Supreme Court in 2017, in which we challenged the results of the election. We'll look and see if the facts that we raised in the petition that we filed at that time have been validated since then. I'm Mark Small. This is Civil Discourse Now. On tech today has been the big kahuna himself. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.
And the king, very silent and frowned, past the doors, lost of pages and slaves. Every word that by chance cast around proved the truth of the closing grave. By the doors of the silent abode, I was crying while pressing the brace. At the end of the passage remote, someone echoed me, hiding his face. By the doors of the beautiful lady, I was sobbing, attired in blue, and the stranger of ashen face sadly echoed me all my sufferings through.